Is we live?
Yeah, we're hot.
Are we
We're
live?
hot. We are hot.
Are we live?
We're hot.
The bullpen is live. Okay, we're not live. We are hot.
Give him the rundown.
Okay, all right. This weekend had a little inter squad on Friday. Things went well. Some things definitely we can improve on. The Pen got after it. Let's say Coob closed the game. Cam was in relief. I started for a team. Team Gray behind the plate. I caught Mr. Colton Hunt. Some of you might know him. He's also known as Chunt. He gets a lot of love on Chunt Day. Chunt Day is his day where he throws. He pitches. He's the guy that threw the no-hitter last spring in the conference tournament opening round.
Let's move to Sunday.
What day comes after Friday, though?
Saturday.
Josh Heupel's in the building. Congrats, coach, on a big win. And it was also on Rocky Top.
Your Super Bowl, according to Spencer.
Oh, yeah, I was going to bring that up, actually. It's just...
We'll get into it later.
How can you say that after you beat us last year, Spencer, and you smoke a cigar after you beat us? Like, I mean, you just got to have a feel. You got to have a feel. Your stats weren't even that good against us. You threw one more interception than you did touchdowns because you threw 0. But
he's the I wasn't trying guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just don't know much about him.
Did he throw 0 touchdowns?
He had 0 touchdowns.
Remember last year when he was like this? He should go like this.
How many interceptions? 1.
Yeah.
Anyway, no hate Spencer Adler. Wish him the best. Just not when he's playing the Vols. JK. Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday. Let's just say that was one of the best days of my life. Taking down Joe Burrow. He's 4-0 against us. Prior to this meeting, Vrabel and the Titans have finally beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Felt real good. We beat up on them. We put Burrow in the ground. Bengals weren't there. Jamar wasn't there. D-line 8. D-Hen, second all-time leading rusher for the Titans history. Tannehill looked fine. Who else played good? Who else did I play good?
I mean, everyone was just clicking.
Converted on third
D-Hop.
a few times.
I think an underrated shout-out for the game. Tim Kelly, our offense coordinator, called a great game.
A lot more dynamic.
Maybe D-Hop, does one more stretch. Maybe Tannehill does a little less stretching. We connect on that. Deep ball. So shout out to our strength and conditioning coach. Do your job.
Wow.
Okay.
They all just clicked. I think that was a game that was waiting to happen. All of them clicking at once. So I was glad. It was good to see.
You see when Derrick Henry gets that momentum, it's a whole different ball game.
Agreed.
If he can get going.
What's he got? 1,400 more yards to pass Eddie George?
Yeah, but honestly, he's probably the next Peyton Manning. I couldn't tell you the last time he's thrown an incompletion. Every time he's got the ball in his head and he's throwing that thing in the air, it is
factual.
Coming down for a catch. So watch out for the Titans. We're 2-2. Heading into
Colts.
Heading to division matchup on Sunday.
My other roommate's a Colts fan, so that'll be a good one to win.
The Priv 102 Bowl. As some have been calling it.
I like that. Bowl. Should get that on a shirt.
But
we got a big guest today. He's where's he from? Nashville. Some people call him Joe Burrow 2.0. Looks just like him. Great guy, great human. Glad to have him. Let's get him out here. Houston High.
Welcome to the podcast.
Looking dapper too.
Thank you, man. Hey, show the camera your fit.
Here's your microphone.
Fit. Stand up.
All right, we're gonna stand
Take
up
a
and
stand.
show and show the fit head to toe, as it were. First, we got a bucket hat with Smokey on it, and that's courtesy of little brother Hunter High,
Go Vols.
freshman for the Volunteers up on Rocky Top.
He plays
Man.
baseball. He didn't say that.
Yes, he does. He's on the baseball team. We've got a very nice jacket, Van Huysen.
Okay.
Brand from Coach Chris Goodrich, fellow
Goody.
roommate of mine in room 304. We've got a polo because we didn't want to, mess up one of Coach Chris's shirts. We got a polo from Miss Emily High, mom. Don't know where she got those. We got some shorts, and then we've got the hydro dipped Air Monarchs.
Guys go crazy.
This was during 2020 when we were all a little bored at the house, and got a big bucket filled up with water, some spray paint, got a stick, twirled the water around, and made a design.
Just went to town on those. They look good.
Thanks, man. So yeah, we got one that's red, then we got a little more blue on the other side, and white. So yeah,
Well, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you coming.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invite again.
You look great.
Thank you, brother.
You feel great?
Feel great. Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yep.
So, Houston, being from Nashville, how'd you feel about the Titans win on Sunday?
I felt great about it. I'm gonna be honest. I am at times a fair weather Titans fan, and going into the game, now fair weather as in my hopes for each game. I'm gonna tune in every time, but walking into that stadium early like we do, when you're sitting in that stadium and you just see, the big red and black B versus Titans, and Joe Burrow and Jamar and all those guys are going to be in the building, and you had witnessed what the Titans were or were not the week before against the Browns, I didn't have a good feeling, right? And I think
neither.
if anyone did, they would honestly probably be lying a little to themselves. So pleasantly surprised is an understatement, honestly. I mean, because 27-3, correct?
27-3.
I mean, if you would have told me Joe Burrow is not going to have one passing touchdown, let alone, obviously a touchdown, I mean, I would have called you crazy.
Imagine the bets for that game. Imagine people betting 1.5 touchdowns for Joe Burrow. Just go ahead and lock that in.
Yeah. Or how little
Sorry.
money was probably on the Titans. The percentage of how much money was wagered on each team. It had to be 10% or lower, what you would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how do you think your performance was on Sunday?
So I had an interesting spot. So I was right beside the Titans tunnel where they come out, where you had the two big swords. They go with the fog, the smoke, right where they run out. So I'm in prime time territory for autographs, and don't want to speak for y'all, but I was in the same spot as last time. So I honestly met a lot of those fans last time, and they recognized my face. I recognized theirs. I don't know what he goes by, but the Titans super fan who always wears the sideways chili hat, he was in my section.
That's awesome.
There was a Titans fan in a sport coat with an all Titans sport coat, and then just this other guy who just screamed for 4 quarters. So I obviously recognized them and the people they were with, but I was on autograph detail before the game, halftime, and then at the end of the game. And I'll just say there were some grown people that they had the demeanor that if they would have touched Joe Burrow, if they would have touched Derrick Henry or Jeffrey Simmons, they would have fainted.
Wow.
They were on the third row, and there were little kids in front of them. And when there were little kids in front of me, I'm not going to be like, stand back. If it's a 5-year-old who really wants Ryan Tannehill or whoever's autograph, I'm going to let him get to the rail.
Nah, I don't know about Ryan Tannehill.
And
I'm just kidding.
So, but yeah, you had grown adults just screaming. Like I had this one lady who was in the third row, and I'm standing there, back turned, trying to be all professional, facing towards the jumbotron, and she's just, can I get my picture with him? Can I get my picture with him? And I'm like, ma'am, I'm sorry, but there's 2 rows of kids in front of you. I don't know how you're gonna get there. And he's like already heading into the tunnel, and because he had just been signing autographs for the past 2-3 minutes, and then she said, can you just take a picture of him on my phone? I said, so you not in the picture, just a picture of him? Yes. Okay. So I took her phone, and she had it zoomed in on like 5 times. So when I first moved it, and she wanted Jeffrey Simmons. When I first moved it to where it was on Simmons, it was just like his low back. So, okay, I got to zoom out real quick because, again, this guy is almost in the tunnel. And so I zoom out and get a picture of, like, from his head to probably his waist by the time I could zoom out in time and get a picture of him. And I gave it to her, and she was so thankful. But in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, what did I do? Like, what is that worth to you? But if I made her day better, I'm all for it. Trying to do my best for best security.
Absolutely.
So you're in close quarters with some of the players. You got to see their faces up close.
I did.
How was that? Was that pretty cool?
It was cool. You saw a lot of the guys. There were a couple players, and now I'm not going to claim like I know everybody on the 53 man, but I didn't recognize them, and they came out. I mean, I felt like they were out there 9:15, going through their warm up. I think he was a defensive guy. Had a thick purple band, was doing all these exercises with it, and would stay out there for an hour and a half, then go in. But the guys that came out early, a lot of them were very good with the little kids and stuff. There was really no one who was call a jerk. Everybody handled it pretty well.
Yeah. Did you? Let me take a step back. Back to those fans, right? Everyone's a fan, but when you got those grown adults acting like kids out there and like taking away the moment for the kid, it's just brutal to see. Like,
yep.
just grow up.
Yeah, because I feel like they would say too, they do it for the kids. And those kids, they idolize those sports stars. I mean, we would say the same thing about those guys when we were younger. I mean, Chris Johnson was the end-all be-all because he was, the only bright spot on a lot of those Titans teams. I remember Derek Griffin, shout out Toyama Steakhouse in Nippers Corner. Michael Griffin. The Derek Griffin, Freed Hardeman student, shout out Derek Griffin. Good football player, and he's gonna lead the Freed Hardeman Lions to another win in the Buster Bowl. So Derek Griffin, book it. We're confident in you, man.
Maybe we vlog that. Maybe we vlog the Buster Bowl. Ooh. Maybe we pull up
the pen takes on the bus.
The pen takes on the Buster Bowl.
Buster Bowl.
No.
Now, with Keem.
Now I personally, if it's Freed Hardeman versus Union. Now Buster is the mascot for Union. He's the Buster, the Bulldog. But why don't we call it the Battle for 45?
Ooh, I like that.
I like that.
Is that the highway?
Coming from Union. We came from Ball State. Coming from Union. Being at Union your freshman year. Is there a little, vengeance there? What are we feeling there?
I wouldn't say vengeance. I like all those guys at Union, no hard feelings at all. But it is cool to, be competing against them in a sport. Because last year when we played them in football, that was the first time, to my knowledge, or since, I'd been at Freed, obviously, that they had competed in something. And now we're going to play them in baseball, too. So I remember last year when I went to the game, and it was a really early, I think it was a 10 a.m. kick. So that was tough. But then again, it was probably 3-1 Freed people.
I've never heard of a 10 a.m. kickoff.
It's on Christian.
Because it's the Buster Bowl.
But if it was the fight for 45,
the fight for 45 does sound cool.
7
or
a.m.
battle for 45, whatever you want to make it.
Battle for 45. I mean,
all I gotta say is Union, mark your calendars, because the boys in maroon, we're coming.
We didn't wear maroon last year.
Just ruin it. All right.
Whatever we wore, Derek Griffin and the boys are going to bring it. Because Derek Griffin, I'm going to go on a little tangent for you, brother, went to Ezel Harding in Nashville. And I believe they played 8-man. And my man led his team to the national championship of 8-man football. My man is left-handed Johnny Manziel out there.
So you're saying maybe he needs to be a guest. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying he makes magic on the field. I'm sure he can make magic with the mic. That's what I'm saying.
Speaking of guest, we hear that you're almost a best friend of George Kittle. And, with that relationship, man, if we could have you and him on at the same time, that'd be a dream come true. What's the odds of something like that happening?
1, it would definitely be a dream come true. 2, during the fall, I feel like that'd be tough. Now, we'd have to do the Niners play the Titans?
Not this year.
I know they did in the past.
2 years ago.
We'll come to him.
If it was at Nissan, and obviously, if we could even sprinkle it the fact that we were working too, so we're going to be in the building early, we definitely could have caught him. But getting out to, what is it, Santa Clara where they play, I believe.
Wait, so
I know they're the San Francisco 49ers, but
you're saying if they played at the Titans stadium, there would be some sort of shot.
if they played at Nissan, we could do it. Correct.
Wow.
So,
Kittle!
So George Kittle, giving a little preface for the folks on the other end of the screen. So his father, Bruce Kittle, was an offensive lineman at Oklahoma, I believe in the late 80s. I'm not 100% sure on that. We can get Coach Kirkendall to double check that at a later time.
We'll get him to
Intern.
pop that up.
Intern Kirkendall. But for Coach Trent Dilfer, who came in my senior year, Super Bowl winning quarterback, he's also in charge of Elite 11 and all of that.
He's in charge of that? Mm-hmm. I didn't know he was in charge.
Yeah, he heads up.
So he
Elite 11.
made Elite 11?
He did. He created it.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, you're
I know
good.
that.
So he hired George Kittle's dad as our offensive line coach our senior year. So with that, I don't know whether Coach Dilfer realized it, he kind of brought George Kittle into the fold. So he worked out with a trainer who works out at our school, or works out a lot of professional athletes. And so I was a tight end on that team, me and one of my best friends, Cole McDowell. And so he was around a lot. And since he was a tight end, or is a tight end, obviously, he kind of took a personal interest in us and was helping us with different things. And obviously, different level of football. So he was telling us little things about, you smash mouth football player here, about pressure on your hands, if you could see the, whether which way you were going, or, how to get in and out of a route quicker, or blocking, hand placement, all this stuff. So really nice guy, and hope he has a great year. Niners are hot 4-0.
They are?
Shout out Kittle, baby.
Shout out to Kittles. Great family.
Speaking of Dilfer, you played for him for 4 years?
Just 1 year.
Just
He
1
got
year?
hired in, I believe, February or March of 2019. So that was our junior spring.
Okay.
So going into
So
senior, so we
him
had that whole
coming
summer.
in, hearing that, was it like all new, like breaking news? You know what I mean? Or was it rumored you were getting him, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I remember the first time we saw him. It was in the high school weight room. One of the weight rooms is right below the aux gym, so it's kind of in the basement, old wrestling room. And we were down warming up, and there's like a little turf space, so we're doing high knees and whatever, like sprints back and forth, getting warm. So we're on the far side, and he comes down the stairs around this tunnel where you can't see until you come around the bend, and it's him and, I don't want to be wrong, but it was one of the heads of school or somebody like in administration, pretty high up there. And he just comes around the bend, and it's this 6'5" bald man who just has a ton of muscle on. And obviously he's older, but he's still from afar. You're like, who is that man? Like, he just looked important. It's one of those guys who, big, broad shoulders. You could tell it was somebody who was important. So we didn't know who it was then, but I don't remember the timing of it, but it was rumored for like a day and a half-ish, and the football guys knew, and then it got announced. I want to say that afternoon or the next day, something like that.
That's pretty cool. So what did you think about having him as their coach?
He was great. I really enjoyed having Coach Dilfer. We had the previous year went 2-9, so not a great year. And his youngest daughter, who's our age in school, was committed to Lipscomb University at the time. So he kind of had an interest of being closer to them because his middle daughter was still playing volleyball at Louisville, and they had lived in Austin at the time. So he just kind of wanted to get on this side of the Mississippi and get a little closer. And being in Nashville, she was going to be right there. Louisville's not far from Nashville. And so, obviously, if you go 2-9, now, I believe it was 6 of those games we lost by a touchdown or less. So it was really, the biggest thing was we couldn't score. We had, when you have a football team with 33 guys, you're obviously going to run out of gas in the fourth quarter. So
I understand.
he brought in guys on campus who had previously quit, or guys that were interested in the program, and complete overhaul. Went to the state championship in year 2, won it in year 3 and 4, and now he's at UAB.
It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Good story there.
thank you. Thanks.
if y'all don't mind shifting, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was going into that do or die game against Georgia Gwinnett in the opening round last year. You know, you had good games before that, but you didn't have anything like that. Certainly, considering how good of a team Gwinnett is,
And the stakes being where they were.
correct. When you're warming up for that game, you know it's going to be a good night for you, or what's going through your head?
It was an interesting day because we had to play Concordia right before that, and we had to beat them too. So the way the conference tournament had kind of stacked up, I had started the fourth game, so I kind of had in the back of my mind, okay, if we can beat them, I'm probably going to start tonight. But then, as you remember, I believe it was, I don't remember the exact score, but we were down by 3 going into the ninth, right? Correct. I think that's
Against
right.
Concordia?
Yeah, Concordia.
Yeah.
So we're down by 3 going into the ninth. So, back in my head, I'm thinking, either we get it going right here, or I'm not throwing, obviously. But also, first and foremost, I'm thinking the season's over. So when we tie it, and then Presley hits that bomb, I'm thinking, okay, we got to get ready to pitch now. And because I had warmed up before, because obviously it was an elimination game, all hands on deck. If you had to go an inning apiece, we're going to go an inning apiece, whatever we got to do to win the game. And so I had warmed up and done everything. Like I was going to try to get in, I was going to be ready to go in against Concordia. And then when we when we realized we were going to win the game, I kind of started thinking, okay, we're going to have to do this. And I remember warming up and kind of just stretching and doing some running and stuff like that. But then once I started throwing to, I think I threw to Nate Lewis. He warmed me up because obviously Libel had just caught, and Libel is a workhorse back there for us. And I remember thinking, okay, my arm felt good, and yeah, arm felt good. Obviously, I was nervous. I think I can't speak for everyone, but you're going to be just nervous in a spot like that. And there's a healthy nervousness, I think. People say, if you're not nervous, you don't care, something like that. But the big thing that kept going through my head was I'm going to do everything I can where I want to be able to say, like, I did my part. Like, I didn't want to be able to – I wanted to be able to look at myself in the mirror that night and say, I gave it all I had. If I gave up 10 earned, I gave up 10 earned. But I wanted to just be able to look myself in the eye and say, I gave it all I had. That was that. And got off to a good start, and thankfully the offense, balled out at the first of the game, and we were able to hold on 7-6.
For those of you who don't know, this guy right here, must-win game, forced a championship game to go to Idaho. 9 innings. How many pitches?
They said
give or take over 120.
I think it was 135, 136. I think they said
136 pitches.
Something like that.
9 inning game. Complete game. Against one of the best teams in the nation.
I believe they were number 3.
In the nation.
Shoved.
Thank you.
And then had a little something to say after when he got off the mound. You remember?
Yeah, and I really don't remember knowing why I did it in the moment. I looked back and, at the box score, this guy went, at the time, he was 3 for 4 off me. So, he had owned me all night. Now, they were singles, thankfully, but he went 3 for 4. And he had swung a grounder back to me, and I thankfully got my glove down. And as I was running over there, I stuck my tongue out at him. And, again, there was no bad blood. I don't remember why I did it. And the funny thing was the next day, he was really cool with me, and they were having to pull tarp. And we were talking about just baseball and different stuff, and if we knew anyone mutually. And so, yeah, there wasn't really any thought behind it. It just happened. So
It was awesome. Awesome day.
The only thing that was sore the next day, though, because now this was completely on me, but arm felt pretty good. But it may have been the 7th inning. I'm not exactly sure. But went over to cover first on a PFP from Rooney. And I did not run over there as fast as I should have. And so I kind of lunged for the bag and rolled my right ankle terribly. And so that whole next day, I was just limping everywhere. And arm felt okay, honestly, but the ankle did not. So maybe all the blood flow went there because it was hurt. But
two sore places at once, and it kind of just I guess it went to the worst
What
one.
you're saying is you should have started the second game the next day.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is you should have started both games.
Yeah.
Arm felt okay. It felt okay after that first one, but it felt okay when I woke up. So,
Wow.
Next question.
yes, sir.
Why do you look like Joe Burrow?
I don't know.
This is a good. I mean, there's a.
I mean, you
Big
just
resemblance.
do look like Burrow, dude.
You really do.
You just do.
Appreciate it.
Like, you just do.
Never really. I never really heard it until obviously he burst onto the scene. 2019 was my senior year, and didn't really. I heard it a little bit that year, but when he got drafted by the Bengals 1-1 in that COVID draft, I believe, right? Yeah. I started to hear it his rookie year, and then from then on, and I remember, like the one that I thought was the funniest about someone saying I looked like Joe Burrow. I was in the MAC, which is the football indoor at Lipscomb, the high school, and I was wearing an orange shirt and black shorts. So I guess Bengals colors, obviously. And there were these little kids at the far end of the building, and when I walked in the side door, like all 4 or 5 of them like screamed together, like Joe Burrow, is that you? Is that you?
Should have just said yeah.
I should have said yeah, but I was like, nah, man. And like, you play football, Lou? And I was like, oh, I used to. And then they started, they threw me the ball. Let me see your spiral. Let me see your spiral. So I tried to show them the spiral, but obviously it was
They were like, oh, that's not Burrow.
yeah, that would have gave it away.
I mean, you kind of eat Burrow. I mean, you're an inch taller, and you probably weigh more than him.
Yeah, but
How much do you weigh?
anywhere between 225 and 230. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's like 220. Inch taller, 10 pounds heavier.
I will say
I'm taking
Same
Houston
amount
in
of
this
Super
fight.
Bowl rings.
I bet you would have put up more than 3 against the Titans.
Definitely.
He does have a Heisman and a Natty though, so don't.
He
have
didn't
those.
throw 200 pitches against Gwinnett though. He
Facts.
did in a
And
do-or-die
win.
game.
True.
Yep.
I should have said that to him at Nissan Sunday. Should have tracked him down.
You should have really went up
Who's
to
the
him.
better looking Burrow?
It has to be him.
This Burrow or Joe Burrow?
He's got the body armor endorsement. What else does he have? What other endorsements does he have right now? Maybe some. I feel like he'd have a Dannon Oikos Greek yogurt.
I could see it.
Has anyone? What's the kid off Home Alone?
Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah. Has anyone said you look like him?
No, but I've heard that Joe Burrow looks like him.
Mm-hmm. I just get a picture of you as a kid and see if there's any resemblance.
We'll pull one up.
Yeah, we'll
after we're
find
done.
one.
Intern Eli, that's what he's going to be able to get on.
Whole intern.
So, Mr. Houston, I've heard you you were the MVP at the Lookalike World Series.
I was there. I was by no means MVP.
What year was that?
2014 Little League World Series.
Were y'all was it just Southeast?
Mm-hmm.
The team Southeast.
Yeah, we were Southeast. We wore blue and orange. I think it was the first year the colors switched. Like the year before, South Nashville Little League, which is what we were, they went as well. So we went back-to-back South Nashville teams, and they wore light blue and black lettering, and so they flipped the jerseys.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that team was good too. I think I'm right by saying this because the team from Goodlettsville with Brock Myers and those guys that went to the national championship or world championship against the international team, they wore blue and black too. So I guess we were the first year. I don't know how often they rotate.
Can we just freeze though? I want to pop up that video.
Hi, my name is Houston High, and my favorite baseball player is Caleb Joseph.
Thank you, little Houston.
Welcome.
I've watched it, but who was your favorite at the time? I forgot.
My name is Houston High. My favorite baseball player is Caleb Joseph. I'm guessing, does anyone in this room know who Caleb Joseph is?
Not a clue.
That's all right. So we'll give him a little shout out here. Formerly under the Twitter name Utah Backstop, my friend Caleb Joseph was a catcher at Lipscomb University and played for the Orioles.
Wow.
And he was obviously up at the time. And my dad had worked at Lipscomb University when he was there and had a ton of great things to say about him and wanted me to give him a little shout out. So I was definitely down to give one of the Lipscomb Bisons a shout out.
I was about to say, there's a lot of Lipscomb Bison, just Lipscomb in your blood.
Yeah. So yeah, mom and dad both went to Lipscomb for college, and mom played basketball, dad played baseball, and mom was actually an All-American, and I want to say my junior year of high school got her or was inducted into the Lipscomb Sports Hall of Fame as well.
Your mom? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Emily Pleasant High.
That's sweet.
Shout out, mom.
Shout out, Mom.
Also, name in the rafters of Waverly Central High School. If anyone's at Waverly Central High School, it'd be a Pleasant jersey up there.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I forgot what I was about to say.
The year you were in the Little League World Series, going back to that, that was the year of Monet Davis. Correct?
It was.
You have a little experience with her. Did you face her? Did you hit 400? Did she strike you out in 3 pitches? Let us know.
Before I get to our at bat, I did have an at bat against
The Monet.
the Monet Davis, who had a Chevrolet truck commercial. She was on it. She was on ESPN. You know, Gino Ariema had apparently started talks with her. But the only interaction I had with her before we played was they have a rec room for all the teams, kind of just in the middle of all the, that you have. They don't call them dorms; they have names for this, and I forgot what they call the main room. But it was just a big game room. There's pool, there's ping pong, there's arcade games, and I just remember her being so cocky on the ping pong table. And I mean, she was okay at ping pong.
Did you play her in that too?
I didn't. One of my teammates did. Shout out Sam Slaughter. Now at Belmont, doing big things for them. And
Calhoun Warhawk.
Calhoun Warhawk as well. Stewart's Creek guy.
Facts.
Went to Calhoun. Great things to say about Sam.
Was he
Slaughter.
there when y'all were there?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Sam is my age, but he went later, and then now he's at Belmont.
He went to high school with Camden.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I remember Sam played Monet and ping pong. I can't remember who won. But then later, we faced Pennsylvania in the opening game. And Pennsylvania is the local team. The World Series is in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And I want to say I know for a fact it was less than 100 miles, but let's call it 90 miles from their actual Little League. But then the state is obviously going to root for the home team.
Right.
And intern Kirkendall is going to look up the attendance for that game, because if you look up the game on YouTube, because obviously it was well documented with Monet Davis doing as well as she did. Was
it the first game too?
It was, yeah. Opening game for us. And I want to say 15,000 again. Intern Kirkendall is going to double check me on that.
How many again?
I want to say 15K.
Wow.
That's what I want to say.
When you're what, 12? 13?
12 years old.
Oof.
And so I got a pinch hit at bat in I think you play 6 in the Little League World Series. I want to say in the 6th inning. Not 100% sure it's on the YouTube video, but she was close to her pitch count. And, it's X amount of days for X amount of pitches, rest. And we really hadn't been told, she was close to the threshold of not being able to throw for her next day, or I believe she was close to the max. And we were not told that. We weren't told to, see a strike, anything like that. So, I get up there. The place is literally shaking whenever they do something good and everyone yells and cheers and stuff. So, I'm gonna take my hack when I get up there. And I'm swinging the brand new at the time Mako Torque.
Oh, yeah, with the spin handle?
Bottom hand that spun. And I just remember the Easton rep selling me so hard on this Mako Torque, and it was the future, and it was going to eliminate all rollovers. I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, I'm 12.
Eliminate all rollovers.
Dude, that bat, man.
So maybe we can blame the at-bat on this. I think you know where this is going now, whether it was positive or not. And don't remember which pitch, but I remember fouling one straight back. I was like, okay, I'm on it. And
Did you feel the spin?
felt the spin. Maybe if the spin wasn't there, that's a C.
Yeah, maybe you're on top of that one.
Could have been.
Maybe
Never
you're
know.
putting that off the head in center field.
Could be. Hitting that into the kids with the cardboard and going down the
Hitting that up the hill over there.
And later in the at-bat, she threw that same pitch a little higher, and Houston went after it. Houston went back to the dugout. She struck me out.
Was she throwing fudge back then? How fast was she throwing then?
I want to say low 70s, so equivalent. That's
That's cheese, yeah.
From 46 feet. And then the other big thing that she took full advantage of, and my dad, Brent High, has a good saying, but it's the difference between pitching and throwing, and she was pitching.
Let's get out of here with the win.
A big at bat here. Houston High is sitting in the number 9 slot. Then we'll get back to the top of the order, where they got a lot of thunder on this team. Strike 2, or we're back in business. Gone.
So Monet is her.
She balled out. She balled out.
I love watching the Little World Series. Pretty cool that I know a guy that was in it.
I remember when I was younger, I would watch it every single year.
Yep.
And now as I'm getting older, it's kind of like if it's on, I'll throw it on, but like I kind of fading away. But like I used to remember watching it, and it would be just, it was just awesome.
Who else was on that team with you?
Robert Hassel was on that team
Jeez.
from Independence, who hopefully he gets
He was
the
in
nod.
that. He was in the trade deal with.
Correct, the Juan Soto deal.
Yeah.
Went to the Nationals. So he was on that team. We had a guy who's a pitcher at Sanford on that team named Drew Byers. We had Eston Snyder, outfielder for MTSU, balling out, doing big things there. Sam Slaughter was on that team. Let me think who else. And then we had a couple guys that at 12 were men. And those were the guys that were really athletes. These guys were legit putting a Gillette razor to their face and shaving stubble. 12 years old.
Wow.
And one of them went to CPA, which is Lipscomb's rival high school. And I just remember how the combination of speed and strength from this guy. And he was left-handed and would whip his bat this hard, like while he was waiting on the pitch. And I remember him at the state tournament in Tullahoma hitting a line drive. And, people say, oh, that ball never got more than 20 foot off the ground. But this ball, in my 12-year-old brain, never got higher than a basketball goal off the ground. And it flew out to right field and skipped on this street and just landed in somebody's front yard.
Who was it?
The guy's name is Barrett Smith.
What's Barrett doing these days?
Barrett Smith.
Is he swinging the
To my
stick?
knowledge,
Or?
he's not, unfortunately. To my knowledge, he is a student at the University of Alabama. Chasing that degree.
All I gotta say is October 15th, 2022.
I was there. That was a day, in fact.
Roll balls.
The Vols did roll. And they played Dixieland Delight. And
Got a cup holder or
Coaster.
coaster
baby.
for you.
Zoom in, intern.
I saw that the other day.
Read it. How about you read it?
I saw that.
I'll read it. It's the third Saturday in October. Tennessee 52, Alabama 49. October 15th, 2022. Neyland Stadium. Brothers
Just
Bachelor
corny.
gift. Brothers Bachelor gift.
Here's my
Love it.
question, though. Do you see Evanio Cubio to my right with any coasters of after they win the game? I feel like that's just business for the Maize and Blue.
Yeah, back-to-back years beating Ohio State. You don't see me with the coaster. I guess that's just the difference, right? So, just take it how it is, I guess.
I say that too when I only have to play 2 teams a year.
Ooh.
Back-to-back CFP. So,
I will say there are no. I understand we have Vanderbilt football, but I don't see any Northwesterns in this Southeastern Conference. I don't see any Rutgers. Rutgers.
oh
is
no,
Big Ten, correct?
oh no.
Yes. Who else on this
I'm not gonna get into this right now because I'm just gonna get upset, and I don't want to be upset right
Yeah,
now.
don't upset Compton. Don't bring
That's
the
true.
the Cornhuskers
We don't want,
into
I
this.
know Will Compton.
They're back.
Brother
Nebraska's
Will
back.
watch, but sorry, Will.
I just hope that somehow y'all make the playoffs so we can play you. That's all I hope.
Look,
And that's
look,
all I'm gonna say,
look,
folks.
No, time out. Before he goes on this little rant, I have told him all long who I think is going to win the national championship this year. I think it's the U of M. I think it's Michigan. I think they are the best team in college football right now. However, they do have an easier schedule. That's all I'm saying. They have an easier schedule.
And what do they do with their
Easy
easy
play.
schedule? They take care of it
Most
because
of
they
the
can't
time,
help it.
these past few years they have.
Exactly.
But if they don't do it this year, I don't know when they do it.
And then we're gonna take care of Tennessee.
That's fine. That's fine. Just wait till Nico comes in.
Okay. We're done on that. Back to Mr. High. Talking about Lipscomb. I guess another guest we want to get on, Mr. Ernest, country music star.
He's the man.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Do you somehow know him or have his phone number?
I know him. I don't have his phone number. Keith Ernest Smith. Went to Lipscomb. At the time, I believe it was David Lipscomb High School. And played baseball for his dad, who was Ernie Smith. And so he was named after his father. So I think it's either Ernest Keith Smith or vice versa. And so I knew him as Keith before I knew him as Ernest. And he'd hang around the high school baseball field, and very good athlete. And even since my little brother just graduated in the spring from high school, he would send me a couple of videos every now and then of Keith Ernest in the cage. He's got this lefty sweet stroke.
Ernest.
Yes.
Flower shops.
Mm-hmm.
He'd send you a video.
Got the King Griffey.
He would send
Yeah, his brother would send him a video of Ernest swinging.
Correct.
Oh, Ernest would just be there taking BP.
Yeah, in the cage.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And I'm gonna send this video to intern Kirkendall so we can throw that up there as well. We're gonna get that from Hunter High, but
Appreciate it, Hunter.
man still got it. And then I remember seeing videos of him at the university mound because it's right there too, of him getting up on the bump and in tennis shoes, like low 80s, filling it up in tennis shoes, and I don't know if I've ever thrown in tennis shoes on a mound and tried to huck it, but you're obviously slipping and sliding, and man was out there being an athlete competing. So that would be the what's the phrase, the feather in the cap to the bullpen podcast.
So you ever had a conversation with Ernest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seemed like a chill dude. Seemed like he'd come on the pen.
Very good guy. Very cool, down to
Just
earth.
not hitting his back, huh?
You only can DM him so many times.
Comment on his post trillions of times.
Likes every
comments. He likes my comments, but just get me back.
I'll put in a
me
good
back.
word. I'll put in a good word. I'll see
Thank
what I
you.
can
Please do. Please do. Coach Esses misses you.
Shout out Brad Kuhn, high school coach at Lipscomb. Him and Ernest are boys, and maybe we can get.
Man, maybe we need to get in touch with Mr. Kuhn.
Yep. Great baseball player. Also got drafted by the Angels and was in AAA for a while in Salt Lake. Man balled out. Played in the Dominican Winter Leagues. So he's got some great stories to tell. So I'm doing great things for the Lipscomb High School baseball program. Shout out Brad Kuhn.
Cam, did you have a question about a Star Wars duel for Houston
Oh no,
or a
no.
fight?
I know you're a big Star Wars fan.
Yes, sir.
It's pretty evident if you go searching in your Instagram.
Yes, sir.
But might have to pop a few of those posts up. I was gonna ask you, and this is gonna sound like a stupid question, but you can have fun with it.
Yes, sir.
I know your favorite character is Anakin Skywalker, correct?
Yes, sir.
Anakin Skywalker versus George Kittle. Who you taking on the gridiron?
On the gridiron.
Yeah.
Are we in the Star Wars universe, all powers included, or are we in on Earth?
Yeah, he's got his powers. He just has no idea what football is, though.
So it's not a fight. It's like, is Anakin Skywalker defending George Kittle like he's a linebacker or a DB or
Yeah,
something?
sure. We'll go with that.
Okay. If the flag is called, we're gonna go with George Kittle. But Anakin, we're not even gonna use his lightsaber. Obviously, we're gonna call that cheating. Cutting somebody's legs off. Anakin has a metal hand, a bionic hand. If Anakin, because in the movies, if you see him in Revenge of the Sith, he's a stout, athletic-looking young man, right? Like you would think he's got some lateral quickness. We don't see any lateral quickness or shuttle drills in the movie, but you would think he can move laterally and back and forth. And so I'm thinking if he can get that metal hand on him, I feel like he could just throw him to the ground. Because within 5 yards, now maybe the NFL is different, but I just remember in high school, it was like within 5 yards, you could punch him off the line of scrimmage, you could do some damage. So if Anakin can get that hand on him, maybe throw him to the ground before the ref's looking, I'm going Anakin. But George, I know, is 6'5", 250, 255, and can move like a cat, 4'6", 40, somewhere in there. So
What are you taking?
fate of the universe on the line. Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth. I'm going to go Anakin Skywalker. We all know who that quote's from. We're going to get him on soon, too.
That was my impression of you, Kittle.
That's an impressive answer, dude. That was very well thought out, even though it was on the spot.
Did you text him that?
I did not.
No text. We could show it, too.
Maybe he's thought about this.
Maybe.
I have. I'll tell you the hypothetical that was, maybe not hypothetical, but maybe just, dilemma of another world was on my mind lately. Was me and my dad went and watched the second Avatar whenever it came out. It may have been last year. I don't remember. But then my question was, because Avatar's sick. I think so.
I mean, it's sick.
I think it's really cool. I think it'd be really cool to be a blue guy. And for a little bit, I really consider
Big old blue guy.
And they're big and they're athletic.
Athletic, they can swim fast.
They're blue.
They're
They
blue.
have those pterodactyl thing that they
They're
latch
blue.
into. It's basically like putting the key in the ignition, and they tell it how to fly, and it flies
Yeah.
that way. So honestly, for a little bit.
Oh yeah, they put their thing in there.
They got the tail basically with the key attached, and they throw it in the forward.
It's like a key fob, and they just chuck it in there.
And it's just got aim assist, and so it's just right in there. I honestly consider, would I rather be a blue person or Anakin Skywalker?
You consider that being a big Star Wars guy?
I consider it for a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. It's still Anakin all the way. But
You know what I used to consider?
what?
Being an airbender.
Yeah.
I used to get I used to get that.
Hang haircut.
Yeah, I used to get that in my head as a kid.
I love that show.
I don't know why I did it, but
Sokka's one of the most funniest characters of all time. Period.
So Star Wars is your favorite, like, sci-fi
For sure.
type?
Just favorite
Okay.
movie series of all time?
Movie series, yeah.
Do you like the older or the new way of Star Wars?
I think Star Wars is whatever George Lucas had his hands on. So I would say movies 1 through 6 canonically. So we're going to start with A New Hope, right? We have the original trilogy of A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, which was for a second going to be Revenge of the Jedi, and then was finalized on Return of the Jedi. Then we have the prequels that came out in the early 2000s, where George obviously realized the success of the original trilogy and came back and let's take a step back. Let's give the viewers the preface, because the 6 movies are the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker becoming Darth Vader, right? Like when the Phantom Menace came out, one of the movie posters for the Phantom Menace was the young Anakin Skywalker on Tatooine, where he's wearing that, sackcloth type clothes, and his shadow in the background is actually Darth Vader. So we know, it's not a secret. Intern Kirkendall is going to show that picture up on the screen. And so from the jump, he's going to turn into Darth Vader. And so you see him, become this Jedi, is not given the grant or the rank of master by Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson with the purple lightsaber. And so
Purple lightsaber, dude.
his demise, falling, and as he is seduced to the dark side of the Force by Chancellor Palpatine. And then you see him come full circle when he saves his son in Return of the Jedi and throws the Emperor down the, whatever you want to call it, down the shaft into foreverness, because he was electrocuting his son. And he came and said, that's my son, that's my boy. So he throws the Emperor off, and then he is, about to die. And then he says, let me see my son with my own eyes. Removes his mask. It's this old, pale white man. And he is able to see his son. And he dies. And Luke gives him a Jedi burial. And, happily ever after, the Ewoks dance on the little huts, the little tree houses. And they play the drums with the stormtrooper helmets. And then you see the Force ghosts appear. You've got Yoda, Obi-Wan, and then Anakin shows up.
I think I just watched the movie.
dude, I'm so lost. I've seen bits and pieces of all of it.
That's okay.
I've watched them.
And so basically it's just the redemption of Anakin Skywalker, and he makes everything better. And then when Star Wars is sold to Disney, obviously it's this huge money-making machine with shows and spinoffs. The Clone Wars show when we were little on Cartoon Network, great show. And then they're realizing, okay, we can make a boatload more money. Let's just churn out some more movies. And they eventually come to the conclusion of, Emperor Palpatine is not dead. We're going to bring him back to life and give some random excuse and all this other stuff, to where I'm thinking, so Anakin did all that for nothing. And so, as an Anakin Skywalker fan, that's not what you want to see from your franchise that George Lucas worked so hard on. And I understand all this is fictional. I'm not going to shed a tear over Anakin Skywalker right now. Hayden Christensen's doing great things, but yeah, it is annoying when that was the story of Star Wars, and then you have Disney come in and it's all about the money, right? More money, more problems. So that's my 2 cents. Honestly, I probably gave 100 cents just now, but
It's a good explanation.
that's what I got.
Very, very well thought out.
Thanks.
But what I was gathering from that, you play baseball, you're a pitcher, you have this thing called a walkout song, correct?
Yes, sir.
You talking about Star Wars?
Get your back on it.
I think I found your walkout song.
Phantom Menace, Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn.
What number were you?
This past year, 44.
Now coming into pitch. Number 44, Houston High.
I mean, Gwinnett is just shivering in their britches.
You come out of the bullpen wearing the Darth Vader costume.
Maybe you do that for, I don't want to,
Spoilers.
no spoilers, but, October 31st, we got something that we do around here near Halloween time.
Vlogging
Halloween
that.
game. Yeah. Maybe you are Darth Vader, maybe you're Anakin Skywalker, maybe, I don't know.
2 things on that, Rudy, and I promise this was not scripted or known about before, but Duel of the Fate now. What was the name of that song again?
Dual Fates.
Duel of the Fates.
Dual Fates.
Duel of the Fates was my original walk-up song my sophomore year of high school to come to the plate.
Wow.
I think that would be sick for somebody to run out, too.
I think so too. So that's going in that's number 1 on the list right now. We
Let's
need to
go.
create the notes tab because, as we all know, we're gonna forget songs that we think are cool by the time we get to the spring. So we gotta start writing them down now.
Good chirp.
But then 2, I may or may not know of the whereabouts of a full Anakin Skywalker suit that may or may not be worn for Halloween activities. May or may not. Don't know where.
We're gonna vlog that day for sure, fellas. That'll be fun. That'll be real fun.
Yeah, it got canceled last year, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Dude, I remember that.
Rain, I
Just
believe.
Ghostbusters.
What was I? What were y'all's costumes?
It's going to be a Ghostbuster.
Oh yeah, you and 3 other amigos.
Me, Dawson, Bert, and Max, and Whit was going to be the
ghost.
The ghost.
Awesome.
What were you, Cam?
I believe I was going to be a knight.
Oh
courtesy
yeah, you
of
were.
Hunt's Thrift. Yep.
What was I gonna
That's
be?
awesome.
I don't remember.
Would you have still been in any sort of apparatus at
Oh,
this
yeah.
point, or no? I feel like you wouldn't be, but you obviously couldn't do a whole lot.
I'd have been close. I'd have either been just getting it off or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was gonna be though.
But I did text the skipper today. Mom's been asking. Donald Trump's been asking me. Is Freed Harmon baseball having the Halloween game? So I had to text the skipper. Skipper said yes, October 31st.
Heard it here first.
It is confirmed. We are having that set in stone. Drop us a comment what you would want the pin to be. Maybe we, might go as a unit, might go as our own deal. Let us know. Let us know in the comments what you want.
We'll be streamed on ESPN.
The Ocho.
Might want to hop on that.
You know who I do know is going to be there for a fact and needs a shout out is Dr. CJ Vyers. That man helps Freed Hardeman baseball run. That man has a true talent on the camera and also
Yes.
puts in a ton of hours for us on and off the field. Shows up to games and practices, but also does a lot for us behind the scenes. So I wanted to shout out Dr. Vyers. You are appreciated.
He told me this summer he came to one of my summer games, and I can't remember, but I think he told me he's only missed one game since like 2018.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's road games.
Home and away, yeah.
Midweek games, like that's something crazy.
Dr. Virus, we got you a spot. We're working our way to you.
Working our way, waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
He's
Wait
probably
for the right
missed
time.
less games than a lot of players have.
Dude, honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's one of the many faces of Freed Hardeman baseball.
He's the man.
And I don't want to speak for the bullpen as I'm the guest, but I feel like you could say he'd also look pretty clean in one of these tan hats that I'm seeing in my lap.
Oh, yeah.
He would rock it.
Oh, yeah.
He would. He'd look great.
This is just a little sneak peek, fellas. All right?
Great.
And ladies, this is the future, all right? This is just a sample. Our hat drop will be dropping soon on Instagram, so you can check that out. Yeah. And that's just the first of many. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. We got about 2 minutes left, fellas, so
We're gonna wrap this up. Houston, it was a great podcast. Can't remember what number it was. Was it 6? Is this episode 6 of season 2? It might be
5 or
7.
6. I don't know.
Who knows? Semester's flying by. This season's flying by. Houston High, Joe Burrow, Anakin Skywalker, we salute you. We tell you, may the force be with you.
I grab you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. And again, I want to say thank you for the invite onto the podcast. I've had a great time. This hour has flown by.
Absolutely. Got any closing remarks? You got anything you want to throw out there?
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Heard it here first from Houston High. Thanks for being here, man.
Glad to be here.